Get in, nerds. We are playing Victoria 3. We are still playing as Italy. And, yeah, here we go. We're gonna, I have some notifications here. I got transport shortages in a couple of areas, so I want to check those out. Umbria, Abruzzo, and South Tyrol. And I got Low, Oregon, my third fleet. This fleet needs a leader. Let's go with this guy. He's a moderate and a basic entrepreneur. There we go. We don't have power of the purse anymore, but that's alright. So South Tyrol, we have a transport shortage because we don't have any railways. Alright, well that solves that. Local prices... Yep, we got a very small amount of demand, so we need to make that happen. The other two states were Umbria and Abruzzo. This is Abruzzo here. I think we need 2 more levels of railways here, and then Umbria is here. And let's take a look at prices. Yeah, 2 more levels, clearly. How many levels are these? These are creating 40 apiece. Oh, but some of them are being created by the urban center. That's what that is. So really, we need 3 more levels here. And then in Abruzzo, it's going to be the same. Yeah, realistically, 3 more levels. Alright, perfect. I'm going to throw all of those at the top of the queue. Obviously, that's going to take some time. Let's get some fast building things at the top of the queue here, and some things that are basically done, and finish those out. And then we'll get the rest of those going. The Italian-French society are big mad, and that's impacting my politics because it's making the petite bourgeoisie angry, but but unfortunately, the French are not happy with me, and I've spent a long time trying to get them on my side, and it hasn't worked, so, you know. Now, Spain, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to get into our customs union, which is a shame, because they're another liberal democracy that I would be delighted to have kind of in my power block and working with me to secure Europe for democracy, but it seems like that's not really going to happen. Now, what else? My petite bourgeoisie are gonna lose a lot of power in the next election because they've got a traditionalist in power, and I think that means they're going to form a bloc with the Catholic Church, and all their left-leaning voters are going to go somewhere else. I think that's how that works. Campania, we got a shortage of transport as well. We're going to need a lot more transport in Campania. Let's do 6 levels. And unfortunately, that's going to be really, really slow to finish, but it simply is what it is. Alright, let's get the game going here. Now, we're at 0 infamy. Let's take a quick look at our subjects. Morocco is still middling. They're not that economically dependent on us, so we could build there some. Orania is getting close to being able to have its autonomy reduced, but Switzerland's the real target here. Siam is getting down there, and Ottoman Empire is moving down there, but neither of those are going to be quick, and I kind of understand that. So with Morocco, let me first take a look at my market and see really what's good. It's still engines. It's engines. I think I want... Do I want export tariffs on engines? I think I kind of do. No, I want to get to frickin' electrical capacitors. That's what I want. But of course that's going to be forever because I'm going to radio first. There are so many technologies I require in order to stay ahead. It's tough. I do have major subventions on art, but that's making me a giant fine art producer, so, you know, worth. We're importing iron, which is a little curious. I'm making quite a bit on tariffs of that, but obviously it's not ideal. I want to mine iron. We're importing a lot of rubber, but we're going to be producing a lot of rubber soon, so that's not necessarily going to be an issue. Meat is a thing that Morocco can produce. I'm going to set tariffs to 0 on meat. It's going to set export tariffs to 0. That's going to make that place a little bit more profitable. Alright, they're working on a railway already. So where can I produce more meat here profitably? Profitably is the key question. Ooh, we got some iron mines and some industry here. These livestock ranches are profitable. In Fez, the capital, we've got some profitable livestock ranches. Now in Western Sahara, there is no industry. So let's build up a baseline amount of stuff, and that'll help them get a little bit more integrated with us economically. And I'm hoping that'll pay dividends long term. Got gold mines here, but they're not going to get any better. No more levels available. Do I build up some of these other plantations? I don't think so. I think I build up these textile mills in Marrakesh. And then in the capital... Oh, interesting. Russian-American company has a corporate headquarters here. That's curious. That's quite curious. And then there's coal and Al Reef, but not more than that. Let's put a few more industrial expansions in here. And that'll be all. This is New York Premium headquarters. That's interesting. Can I get the full name of the company anywhere? New York Premium Metalworks. Alright, neat. Okay, so interesting. So there are a lot of companies that own businesses in Morocco. So after we finish with all our build-up in our own country, and then I'm going to build up a bunch more in Madagascar and Siam. And then after that, it's the power stations. Yeah, I don't think I can rush this. I think Morocco's just going to have to be a long-term prospect. So, I had a period where I was considering going after the Greeks. If I go after the Greeks, what does it look like? It doesn't look like anyone's going to step in, except for Serbia, potentially Wallachia. 24.9 infamy to grab these. I think this is the right call, because nobody else is going to stop me in any way that matters. Let's do it. They've chosen to refuse. That's okay. So, I could potentially sway the Ottomans, but probably not with something that's a revoke claim Morgul on Thessaly. That's an interesting idea. We'll put a pin in that for now. I don't need to mobilize anyone quite yet. My armies are sufficient. My navies could be larger. I wasn't thinking about this. I would need bigger navies to support the army expansions that I just did. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's put those navy expansions in Venezia. Well, one block of them we'll put in Venezia. The other block we will put in Sicily. Another big harborage state. And to do this, I will throw these at the top of the queue. That's going to allow me to dual invade Greece with no problems. With my two smaller armies. Once they're built. I want to get them built fast. A delicious water. And that's put me at some infamy, but only just a little bit. I'm probably going to need to... Nope, relations with the Ottomans are good. Relations with Switzerland are good. Tripolitania and Tunis are just fine. Alright, beautiful. Well, that is all I need. Got those bases building pretty quickly. Nobody appears to be stepping into our diplomatic play, which is fine. That's great. That's good. That's a reasonable place to be. Relations with Greece are cordial. I'm going to improve them just a little bit before the war gets started. Obviously, the war happening is going to decay relations, but when we improve those relations, that's going to make things better. Occitania is still good. Spain. Ooh. I clicked too many times. Still good. Beautiful. Alright. And no one will be mad at us about this, which is very good. Standard of living is still holding. Don't need to mobilize anyone. Fleets are slowly increasing in size. Let's take a quick look at the Greek armies here. Skirmish infantry, mobile artillery, a little bit of irregular infantry, and a lot of line infantry. Alright, so I'm not concerned about this one. And then this one, same deal. Line infantry, dragoons, not at all worried about it. I don't see that as any kind of impediment to me invading the country. Let's go ahead and mobilize our 2 smaller armies. I'm not going to raise conscripts because I frankly don't need them. Once these armies are fully mobilized, we should be ready to get a naval invasion started to claim the country. And that will be just fine. An absolute delight. Whew, well, that ended up being a lot easier than I was hoping it would be. Than I could have hoped. Obviously, it's going to be a significant financial cost, but not too significant a financial cost. Let's see... Oh, I need more command limit for these navies. So we'll put promotions on our main fellas here. I'm going to set this navy to interception. I'm going to set my other navy. We're already on interception, but I need to give this guy a promotion. And now we will go ahead and start our naval invasions. I've got 4 states to naval invade. I'm just going to invade the Peloponnese with 1 force, and then the other, I think I'm going to invade the Ionians. Obviously, I'm going to suffer some reduced efficiency, but I think I might be able to push through, just due to my numerical and technological advantage. I think I might be able to do everything needed. Alright, we are winning against their fleets, which is just fine. I have 2 fronts here, force comparisons looking rock solid. Here's hoping I can move forward quickly. Navies are increasing in size, so that's going to be mitigating some of the penalties that I'm suffering from not having sufficient navies. And it looks like my naval invasions have started and are leading to battles kicking off within a reasonable amount of time here. How's this? Alright, engines and ammunition shortage. Well, that's not ideal. I'm going to have to rely on the private sector for that. Naval invasion is going well here. Naval invasion is going well here. Again, didn't expect invading Greece to be that big of an issue. I know historically in our timeline for Sicily, that was also an expectation that did not come to fruition within any reasonable framework. Ooh, new mandate. Excellent. This isn't the button for that. Let's go ahead and grab Construction 2, which puts us closer and closer to having our next, to having the mandate that gives us that special company. I think I'm going to not mobilize my large army, because I don't think I need to bear the mobilization cost for it. Instead, we'll simply converge on the capital from 2 different areas. We've dealt a significant amount of damage to the enemy armies at this point, which means that they're very low on manpower, and that is allowing us to... Oh, I actually think we're through now. Yeah, because we're fighting battles in Styria Elada. This used to be, I think, Thessaly? No, this is Thessaly. Attica? I'm not sure. I think this state used to be called Attica. But happily, we're moving forward. We've got actually decent occupation already, 53%, so if we can continue to fight battles here successfully, we can simply take the capital and have that be functionally the end of the war. And it seems we have succeeded at that. Harvest conditions started, wonderful, and we are probably going to win this battle to snag us the rest of the Peloponnese. Beautiful. And now both of our armies are going to the Attica front. Yes, Attica, that's this country, and this is the Aegean Isles, because I know the Ionians are over here. Or not the Ionians, the oh gosh, what's the English language word for these islands? Are these the Dodecanese? I think these are the Dodecanese. Anyway, Anti-Russian Association offers us opportunity. The Anti-Russian Association has offered us an opportunity to establish a defensive pact with Great Britain. Their proposal, if accepted, is intended to counter Russian interests. It was a veiled sort of aggression, one which could, in theory, appeal to both ardent jingoists and those who preferred to mitigate losses, but force the enemy to respond, possibly drive them towards reckless confrontation in response to a seemingly benign maneuver. A plan to fight Russia to the last Brit, one minister remarked. The representative flushed. He had practiced responses along both lines, but none of them quite fit. We'd be happy to pursue this as lobby opportunity to the journal, or this is not in our interests. I'm going to say this is not in our interests. I don't want to protect the British. They're on top, and we're in the number 2 position. They're our natural targets. Students rallied to the communist movement. A group of students attending the university in Sardinia have arranged a demonstration in support of the communist movement. The display has inspired other students to join the cause. The lecture hall was barren. There were always 1 or 2 students missing for illness, travel, or family occasions, but nothing of this scale. There were 3 or 4 students per row, each thrown into sharp contrast by the empty seats to their sides. It was a material for a lecture of its own, he thought. Like a heap of sand whose grains had blown away one after another until its form suddenly changed, so followed what had once been a class. The youth will lead Italy into the future, reduced university throughput, extra universal pop strength in Sardinia, communist movement plus 10%. Or they ought to focus on their studies, half the modifiers to Sardinia, and 5% of academics pops become more radical in Sardinia. Let me see, communist movement is 6%. I can afford to let them go forward a little to prevent radicalization among my academics. You know what could happen when the academics are radical? Do you know? I don't know. In any case, I'm not really worried about it. Let me see. If I put... Yeah, no, they're not going to be willing to accept until they're at negative war sport, but they're almost completely occupied, so... Actually, I think when I get occupation of this state, they'll be completely occupied, and then it won't matter. Didakai Agaya Nasoi. Alright, beautiful. So we succeeded at getting them as our protectorate. We'll start improving relations again. Do we give them knowledge sharing? I don't think so. Their liberty desire is Midland. Economic dependence is moderate. Could definitely be larger. Let's take a quick look at how that changes my market. I've completely run out my investment pool, interestingly, so private sector is not building anything, which is leading to significant costs. Any changes in the market? Mana wars are expensive, but I guess they were just using mana wars. Ammunition is expensive. South Tyrol's having a market access issue. I need to subsidize these railways. That's going to help them get hiring, and that's going to deal with the market access problem. Alright. I need more ammunition. Obviously, we want to build that in the capital, if possible, but these munitions plants are unprofitable. If we go to the rotary valve engine, that does make them more profitable. Let's build up a couple more levels. Let's actually build only 3 levels. Do I throw them at the top of the queue? I think so. Concrete dockyards unlocked. Excellent. Ooh, that allows us to implement modern ports for our ports, and that in turn allows us to... Oh, we also got training method streamlining. I keep forgetting about changing up the production methods in here. Where are we? Can't do this yet because I haven't built my power plants. Oh, interesting. Early power plant. Only 25 power. Oh, that's very different. Oh, they reworked the power methods. That's curious. I need to pay attention to that. Let's move ports over to Modern Port. And that's going to use our oil. Oil is still dirt cheap, but that will inspire us to start... That will motivate us, not inspire, motivate us to start pulling some freaking oil out of the ground. Where is oil? Where's my oil? Here it is. Okay, that's actually created significant demand, but most of it's from trade centers. But we've kind of balanced demand, which is just fine. I'm completely fine with that. I'm completely fine with us selling our oil on the open market. Let me just see. We are not close to the end of the episode. So in construction, we're just sort of chipping away at the large industrial expansions that we scheduled a long time ago. Obligation expiring from Tibet. That's fine. I don't really need or have any use for an obligation from Tibet. Who's Austria in a war with? The British. They're at war with the British. Yeah. This is, I guess the French were pushed out of this thing. My goodness, the United States is in this as well. Yeah, I think this is the one that I decided to bail out of. But there's like a bunch of non-negotiating participants on the British side. Yeah, all their subjects. Well, we'll see if the entire world can take out Britain. This is curious because only New South Wales is really trying to revolt here. It's a curious situation. Oh my goodness, the British have got occupation in Austria. Unbelievable. How could this happen? That's wild. That's extremely wild. Fleets are still building up. Do I need to dock them? I think I need to dock them. Dock, I say. You dock too. I just want to make sure that my fleets aren't everywhere when I start to make a war. Booming oil industry. The recent expansion of oil rigs in Lombardy has boosted confidence in Italy's future as an oil producer. If our ancestors had seen machines powered by a black flammable liquid bursting forth from the earth, they would have surely called our technological marvels the work of the devil. Thank God we live in such enlightened times. Get every drop from those wells, extra oil extractors throughput, or we'll find more things to put oil in, extra progress on combustion engine. I'm going to go for the progress on combustion engine. I think that's real good. What if I steal Egypt? I can't. Is Egypt a major? They're a major. Oh my. What if... What if I steal a bunch of states from Egypt? Well, I can't do too much of that right now because I got myself a bunch of infamy taking over Greece. I want to get Crete, and I want to get some of these states. I think that might be my trick. Snagging Egyptian states and feeding them to my other subjects. Crete obviously should be part of Greece, and then these states should be part of the Ottoman Empire. And hopefully that'll help me get their infamy, get their loyalty up and their liberty desire down, and that would be very nice. I do like the incorporation of liberty desire from Europa Universalis 4. I think that's a good mechanic. It was a smart idea. Delicious water. Man, the French are really down bad. Same with the Occitans. Maybe I should have gotten involved in this war. Oh no, this was the one that I couldn't, because it was happening in New South Wales. Yeah, I think that's what was going on. Alright, so we are building up our rubber plantations now. Let's take a look at Siam now that we've completed those and see... Yeah, okay, so now they're much more economically dependent on us, and that's making their liberty desire go down, which is perfect. That's exactly what we need. This set is in Madagascar, and those are going to reduce the Marina Kingdoms, or going to increase the Marina Kingdoms' economic dependency on us, and that's going to help overall. Now, Switzerland. Switzerland is very close, and their liberty desire go down amount is significant. So I think they're actually going to be the ones that get converted first. Although the Ottomans are tempting, but they're not actually economically dependent enough on us for it to be a major factor. I'm going to slide the industrial expansion in Morocco in ahead of the power plants. Because I see that as a slightly larger priority. We'll finish out the expansion in Madagascar first. The Contagious Diseases Act. The petite bourgeoisie in Venezia, led by Umberto Amaretti, are demanding that the government take a stance on prostitution. They require the enforcement of laws that allow police to detain women suspected of being prostitutes and lock hospitals on the grounds that they spread venereal disease. These fallen women are an affront to moral propriety. They must be contained and treated, lest they spread their sinful diseases across the nation. Enacted Contagious Diseases Act, -2 standard of living for the lower strata in Venezia for 20 years. Petite bourgeoisie happy +1. Or, these laws are inhuman. Petite bourgeoisie unhappy -1. I'm going to go with the second one. -2 standard of living for 20 years is ridiculously bad. A right-thinking country would not do that. India. Hell yeah. We got ourselves in India. Excellent. Oh, wonderful. Oh, man. That's excellent. Maybe I should break the British Empire. They're still pretty well near the top, but without India... Oh. What war are they currently in? They're currently in a long war against France. Over Algiers, basically. Here. They want to humiliate the French, they want to conquer Tahiti. And then their other war is against Kathiri. And who's in this one? This is the one that the USA and Austria and Russia are in. Oh, but this one's going to end pretty soon, theoretically, because there's no... Britain can just capitulate. So why don't they? Curious. Unclear. Because they're winning, I guess. Yeah. Even so, if I did something like liberated Persia or something like that, that would be really interesting. Nevertheless, I don't want to go too buck wild with that because my infamy is a little high. And again, I'm trying to focus on getting my subjects reduced in autonomy, because if I can get my subjects reduced in autonomy, I can feel very confident in the future of my power block. Now that I've done all those industrial expansions, let me see how much more time. We got a little bit more time in the episode. Let's take a look at my market and see what I need to improve. I definitely need to increase native iron and engine output. I can do a lot of that in countries that are nearby. Let's do this in the Ottoman Empire. The Ottoman Empire has got a lot of iron in the ground, and that is definitely fertile ground for increasing extraction industry. We're going to need a railway here. Going to go ahead and swing that railway up to the top of the queue. I need to remember to do... a viewer alerted me to that you can shift-click to put them at the top of the queue, and I haven't been doing that. I need to be more conscientious about that, because it is a useful thing. I thought Huda Vendigar had a bunch of industrial resources. Maybe it just has a bunch of starting industry. We got some coal here in Aydin, but iron's what I'm looking for. Iron, none in Ankara, none in Kastamonu. There's iron in Trabzon. Alright, so just look at our... Okay, plenty of infrastructure here. So we'll build another 10 levels of iron in Trabzon, and that'll be nice. Alright, so that should get us the iron we need. And then, in Italy... I want to increase engine output in Italy. What are we currently working on technologically? We're on telephone. All right, excellent. That is very good. Just looking for a good place. South Tyrol is a good place to build up motor industries, theoretically. Lombardy steel mills are having a hard time hiring. What if we increase the production methods? No, it's even worse. Alright. Lombardy does still have some unemployment. Although, again, a lot of our states have unemployment. Let's build up some motor industries. Let's build up 10 levels of motor industries in Lombardy. We are also a little bit short of taxation capacity, it seems, in a lot of these areas. I may hold off... Well, actually, how close am I to getting central planning? Because that's what I need for the telephone switchboards method. I'm not close. I got camera started and investment banks spreading. It's going to be a minute. Yeah, we'll go ahead and do another round of taxation capacity expansion. So I can do one each in Sicily, Calabria, and Sardinia. Sicily, Calabria, Sardinia, Tuscany, and Emilia. Wait, I'm going to hold shift. There we go, I'm doing it. And then, it's not, I guess that's only in a different screen. That's alright. And then, South Tyrol, we need... South Tyrol's got tax waste, but not from taxation capacity. Alright, recently conquered still. Istria has the same issue. So then in Venezia and Sardinia we need 1, and then in Lombardy we actually need 3. So Venezia and Sardinia, 1 level, and then 3 in Lombardy. I'm just going to put all these at the top of the queue. And again, these will get built really, really fast on account of their government buildings. Portugal colonized Lindy. Well, get them. And there's the telephone. Excellent. Unlocks electrics industries. Now, I don't have any use for telephones, so I'm not going to hand build them just yet. But I'm going to have uses for them soon. I think maybe... once I get this stuff finished, I'll circle back to society. I'll finish out... Investment banks is spreading, so that's going to eventually get there. Camera's going to spread after that. But I'll put those in that order just to make sure that they're good to go. And then we'll snag central planning. My tech spread is pathetic. But I am getting some from overflow from extra universities, right? Yeah, only a little. Only a little. I need more universities. That's what I need, friends. Alright, beautiful. Switzerland's getting there. Switzerland's getting there. And Ottoman Empire's getting there. Actually, Ottoman Empire's really getting there. I might be able to snag Ottoman Empire getting down to... Okay, never mind. The game just hadn't properly loaded. Alright, well, it is what it is, I suppose. Alright, so that's made my cash flow at least appear to be a lot better. This war between the French and the British is really dragging on. How many losses have they taken? Yeah, quite a bit. Golly. Dynamism improving relations. Wonderful. Now, I need to be careful with India, because India has pretty high baseline everything. And with the Bajralaks in power, I think the Bajralaks are necessarily modernizers in India, which is a very, very strong ideology. Now, they're going to have a tough time consolidating everything, but if I get friends with them, I could be set. But on the other hand, I could also be facilitating a future rival, which could be a problem. So I need to be conscientious about that. With that having been said, we have hit about the middle of 98, which means that is going to be the end of the episode. We didn't do much expansion, but we laid a lot of groundwork and we built a lot of buildings, and that's very important. That is all the time we've got for today, my nerds. I have had fun. I hope you all have had fun, and I will see you on the other side.